Yo guys, it's Alex, and in this video I'm going to handle every single objection you could potentially get on a high ticket sales call live for you. And I'm going to show you exactly the simple framework that I use to, at this point, I've closed over $3 million in high ticket sales personally, and I've coached hundreds of guys in this industry. I'm going to show you exactly how to handle these objections in a way that's more simple than really like anything else I've seen online. If you look at Alex Hermosi, Jeremy Miner, Cole Gordon, like all these different sales coaches online, I'm going to give you a simpler way than anything that you've ever heard about online before, a simple way of looking at objections to basically make it easy for yourself to handle objections, because objection handling, it can seem like this kind of like hard and like difficult thing if you don't know what you're doing. That's what I experienced when I got into sales to begin with. Then I figured out this framework that I'm going to show in this video, and it made closing easy, like handling objections. It made it fairly easy, when you just know how to think about objection handling and like what things actually matters versus what things doesn't matter. It becomes very simple to close prospects at end of your sales calls. So if you're someone who's looking to get into remote high ticket sales and get into high ticket closing, or if you're already a high ticket closer right now and you're not closing at 40-50% yet, this can be extremely valuable. I'm going to show you everything. So let's get into it straight away. And the first thing I want you to understand before we get into these objections and actually like handling these objections, I need you to understand what sales is all about. If we take a step back and just look at high ticket sales, high ticket closing, what this is all about, what sales is all about, it's all about transferring certainty. Okay, so transferring certainty from you as a salesperson, knowing the program, knowing that you can help the prospect that you're talking with, transferring that certainty that you have inside of you over to them. They need to feel as confident as you feel that this program is going to be the right thing for them and it's going to get them from where they are to their goal. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's going to be super important to have that in mind throughout this entire objection handling process, because if the prospect truly feels like what you're selling, whatever coaching program, high ticket service, whatever it is that you're selling, is exactly what they need to do to fix their problem and get to where they want to go, it's a no-brainer to buy. And most of these objections just become irrelevant as a result of that. So that should always be your main focus. All of these objections right here, if the prospect just gets more certain, if they get to like an 8, 9, or 10 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, that your program is exactly what they should do, most objections become completely irrelevant. So that should be your frame of looking at objections. When you get to another call, your first priority is making sure that whatever they say, whatever they tell you, if it's I need to think about it, I need to talk to my dog, I need to talk to my wife, my husband, whatever it is, it's too expensive, I talk to my parents, transfer money, meditate on it, I have to wait a couple of months, whatever you get. I've heard all kinds of objections, like the crazy shit you can imagine. Whatever you get on the call, your first top priority needs to be to make sure that this guy or this woman, whoever you're speaking with, your prospect, is 100% bought in that this solution, aka like your program, is the perfect thing that they need to do that's going to get them from where they are to their goal. Okay, so when I keep coming back to that, that's super important to have that in mind. It's all about just like getting them higher up on that scale. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, exactly how to make this happen, like what to say and things like that. But just keep that in mind. It's all about just getting them higher up on that certainty scale. I'll even write this down because this is super important. Objection handling and really sales overall is all about bringing up the certainty for the prospect. Move this. There you go. Cool. So in terms of how to actually handle these objections, knowing this to be true, that everything really becomes, like most objections become irrelevant if the prospect is certain, that also means that our first priority, whatever they say after we drop the price, you tell them, okay, the price is going to be $5,000 for the coaching program. They tell you, okay, sounds good. Alex, I just need to think about it. Cool. No worries at all. So first off, you agree with them. You don't start like fighting straight away and like get into like a boxing match of like trying to like strong arm them into buying. Cool. No worries. It's also important how you say this. You need to have a very detached tonality, So stay with me now because I'm going to handle this objection. So first thing you need to do, basically just diffuse, so like diffuse the pressure, because they immediately going to feel like, okay, I'm going to tell this guy that I want to think about it. And he's probably a sales guy, so he's probably going to like push me into buying, So if your first way if you react to them saying I need to think about it, with you getting mad or like frustrated, they're going to be turned off. You're probably going to like drop off the call or You're not going to close the deal because they're going to have like their defenses up, So you need to be very like relaxed, chill, like physically, literally lean out. That's what I would do my calls. No worries, man. That's all good. That's a lot of people feel like they need to think about it. It's a big decision, so that's totally fine. No worries at all. I guess I'm just curious because what's really important on our end is just alignment between like us and you. I want to make sure that everyone that comes in here is actually like they believe in the process, so we can actually help them properly and get good results. That's important for us and the founder. So I guess yes, I can stay organized on my end. Like other than you need to think about it. Like how do you feel about the process specifically? Like everything that we covered on this call. Do you feel like this is exactly what you need to go from their current situation, let's say working a 9 to 5 that you don't like, to having freedom, spending more time with your kids, and being able to travel? Or how do you feel? First question, you see what I did there? Basically, just making sure that they're certain on the program. So making sure that we have this certainty on the actual program that we're offering. That's the first thing we do. First part is number one, make sure that they're certain on the program before we even handle objections. Because a lot of times you guys, the reason why you don't close deals, the reason why I used to struggle with objection handling in the beginning is because you handle this thing as like you handle it like face on, like you just take this as the objection that they need to think about. And you're like, no, you shouldn't think about it. You should make quick decisions. You shouldn't be waiting 24 hours. You already been waiting for like 2 months. You should take action now, When in reality, this might not actually be the real objection. Because again, I said before, if the person is certain that the program is the right thing for them to do and it's a solution for them, these things become irrelevant. Why would you wait to do something that you know is the right solution? Why would you say it's expensive to invest in a coaching program if you truly believe that the coaching program is going to get you to twice your current income? Why would you meditate or pray or need to go talk with someone else if you truly believe like 100% is the right solution? It's like all this, again, we're going to come back to this, it becomes irrelevant if you truly get them certain about it. So that's why the first thing we do, whatever they tell you, you put it aside. Okay, you need to think about it. Cool, no worries. Other than that, how do you feel about the process? Do you feel like this is exactly what you need? And they tell you, so you ask them first, put their objection to the side. Verify if they, let me make myself smaller here so you guys can see this. If they are certain on the process. We do it once and then we do it again. Because usually what's going to happen is you ask them, like, okay, other than thinking about it, how do you feel about the process? Do you feel confident about it? They're going to be like, yeah, I feel confident about it. It sounds good. And then they're going to give you the objection. They're going to give you, like, yeah, I'm just worried about spending so much money. Or it's like the first time that I'm investing into a coaching program. I'm kind of scared. Or I just don't know if I have the time to put into it, And that's the real objection. So you'll either get on the first time, or they will tell you like, yeah, I think so. When you ask them about how confident they feel about the program, And in that case, if you ask them, okay, like, how do you feel about the process? And they give you like a kind of half-ass answer, you need to be super aware of like their tonality as well. Is super important. Like really pick up on like how they say it. As yes can mean a lot of different things. If they say like, yeah, I think so, versus yes, 100%, this is what I need to do. Two very different answers. So really like pick up on their tonality is super important. And make sure that if it's anything else but like a hell yeah, then there's uncertainty, which you need to dig into and figure out what it is. So if they give you like a half-ass answer, if they're like, yeah, I think so, then you double tie down. So what that means is if nothing else but hell yeah. And when I say that, I basically mean like yes with a certain tonality. So let me write that out. With certain tonality. If you get anything else on that, then you dig into, the uncertainty. So you basically just call it out. That's what I would do. The easiest way to do it, instead of just doing some like crazy, like difficult reframe or whatever, you just ask them, okay, you don't sound too certain. Like, I guess you can almost like call it out in like in a fun or like a joking way, When they're like, yeah, I think so. You're like, yeah, you don't sound too certain about it. I just want to make sure there's actually like alignment here. Like, what is it you feel like you're not 100% sure about specifically, And if you just call it out, they will be like, shit, this guy is actually aware of like what's happening. He's not just like asking me questions. He's actually like on this call listening to how I'm speaking, and they will tell you what's up, And you just go into that, and then you just handle the actual objection at that point. And that's a completely different conversation, because like the first objection you guys get is usually not the real objection. The reason why you're losing deals right now is you're getting objection like this: I need to transfer money, and then immediately you go into like, okay, we need to set up a follow-up call, and like what you need to transfer money from, when in reality they might not actually even need to transfer money, you know? And then you have like a 20-minute conversation about something that's not like actually true, because they just give you like a smoke screen objection, and you end up losing the deal because of that. So super important here that you actually handle the real objection. And the way you do that is by making sure you have certainty on the program, and that you have 100% confidence from them that it's the right thing for them to do before you handle any objections. So that's the first thing you need to do here. So this is going to apply for all these objections. You know, you drop the price, whatever they tell you, you put it aside. You go into making sure that they're actually certain on the process. And if there are certain on the process, you know, if they're actually like, yeah, 100% it's the right thing for me to do. I want to do this. The process sounds exactly like what I need to go from like where I am to where I want to go. Then you ask them, and you do a double tie down, just making sure that the only thing that's holding them back is this objection. So let me give you an example here. Let's say, for example, you get to the end of the call, you present the price, they tell you that I need to talk to my dog. I don't know why I put this. It should say I need to talk to my spouse, but I need to talk to my spouse. They tell you that. Cool, no worries at all. Totally get that. A lot of people feel like they need to do the same thing. Totally normal. Other than you going and speaking with your dog, how do you feel about the process specifically? What's really important about for us is alignment between us and you. So how do you feel about like the process? Do you really feel like this is the right solution for you to go from X, Y, and Z to X, Y, and Z? Yeah, I feel like it could be the right thing. I feel like it's good. I feel like this is what I need and things like that. Cool. So process and things like that, like the program and how it's all structured, like speaking with your wife aside or speaking with your dog aside, other than like obviously doing that, are you 100% sure that this is exactly the right thing and now is the right time? So you want to double tie down with a very certain direct language of like, other than doing what you said you want to do, are you 100% sure? Like say with that tonality, like 100% sure that this is the right thing, now it's the right time, you want to get started, just need to talk with her first. Saying it that way, make sure we flush out any uncertainty. Because again, we want to make sure that he is 10 out of 10, or he or she is certain. We want to get like 10 out of 10, as high to 10 out of 10 as possible on the certainty scale before we handle any other objection. So that's why it's super important to double verify, double check with them that other than what they just told you, they're 100% sure. Because the thing we want to avoid here, we don't want to be handling like I need to speak to my wife objection when he's in reality not sure about the program, you know? Because then we're handling like two different things. And certainty is the first thing we need to get before we can handle objections, you know? A person who's not certain about the program is not going to buy, even if we handle like the spouse objection perfectly, he's not going to buy. So we need to always get the certainty from them first, get them like 10 out of 10 confident that this is the right thing for them to do. And then we handle the actual spouse objections or whatever it is, you know? So this applies for all these different things. And I'm gonna make future videos like going more in depth to like the specific handles for like all these evictions. I'm not gonna have time to like go in and say exactly like the word tracks for all these evictions. But this is by far the most important framework that you need to get into, is like realizing whatever you get in terms of objections on the sales call, put it aside, focus on getting certainty from them that the process is what they need to do. And then once you have that, then once you get that once, you get it again, you double tie down, then you can go into actually handling an objection if they're still bringing it up. Well, a lot of times what's going to happen is someone tells you like, I need to think about it. You're like, okay, cool. So what about the process? Do you feel good about the process? You're going to give you the real objection. You handle the real objection. And then you basically just close them, because they actually need to think about, they're just like uncertain about the program. And that's going to apply to most of these things as well. Like I need to transfer money, I need to talk to my parents. A lot of times that's just like, it's just uncertainty, you know? In the cases where it's not uncertainty, how you handle this is, for example, if it's too expensive, that's a really good one. And you talk to my spouse, also a good one. I'll give you quick like ways to handle this, just so you have some like ammo to use as well. When you have certainty on the program, when you know this person is confident about the program, how you handle the spouse eviction, very simple. You figure out if it's permission, like if they need their spouse permission, like if they have like common finances and like the spouse is gonna like kick them out of the house if they do it, or if it's just more like a respect thing, you know? Because a lot of times when people say they want to talk to the spouse, their parents, and whatever it is, they're usually just externalizing. They're usually just like scared of making a decision. And they're like putting the responsibility on someone else to kind of accommodate them making a decision, you know, make it more comfortable for them to decide because they're scared to spend the money. Like most objections just come down to fear. You know, people are scared to invest big amounts of money. Maybe they're doing this for the first time in their life. So you just need to understand that and realize that, like, when someone tells you that they want to speak with their spouse, first off, figure out, like, is this something where they truly need to speak to their spouse to do it? Or is this like them feeling more comfortable doing it? If they need to do it, then you have either go for like a deposit, or you just book a follow-up call and get the spouse on the call. If it's like I want to talk with them because it's like out of respect, or it's more comfortable for me to do that, then you need to just, in most cases, depends on who you're speaking with. If you're talking to like a more like a masculine type of prospect, then you need to just like challenge them, you know, and get them to understand that this journey of getting into a coaching program, leveling up, if it's fitness, if it's making money online, growing their business, it's going to be a journey of them taking responsibility, and they can't externalize responsibility of making decisions, you know. Basically, it's like putting all the responsibility on them to take the actions to get them to where they want to go, and getting them to realize that putting responsibility on your wife or on your husband, whatever it is, to make this decision isn't fair to them because they don't have the information, they haven't been on this call, they don't know how committed you are to the program. Basically, it's like helping them understand that it's your responsibility to make this decision, and you can't go to someone else and like ask them to do it for you, you know? So that's important to handle, like someone externalizing responsibility of making a decision. If it's someone who tells you that it's too expensive, then how you handle that is two different ways. Either it's a value objection, they don't really see the value in the program. And then, to be honest, you just fucked up earlier in the call, big time. If it's more like sometimes it's going to be usually people are just going to say that because they don't have the money to do the program, they can't afford it, and then you need to go into like a payment plan and give them a payment plan option. And the word track and like the way of doing that, very specific way of doing it, you know. So when someone says it's too expensive, first you want to figure out like is it you don't feel like it's worth it, or is it you can't afford it, you don't have $8,800 or $10K, however much the program is, you know. And then based on that, if they don't have the money, then you go into what I call an open wallet. I'll make a video about this in the future. But basically what that is when you go in and figure out exactly like how much money they have in their bank accounts, you get their permission to ask them about these things, figure out how much money they have, credit, income, savings, all that stuff. And then you build out a customized payment plan for them. That's how usually we handle that. If it's more like a value thing, then you basically just need to kind of redo the pitch and like redo and like the value build up of like going from where they are to the goal. It's usually more like an uncertainty objection. If someone doesn't feel like it's worth it, you've missed a lot of things early in the call. I need to transfer money. This is usually a smokescreen. A lot of times people say this because they just want to get out of the call, you know. So don't just take this at face value. Again, make sure you have the certainty first. When you have the certainty from them that the program is the right thing for them to do, if they still need to transfer money, you need to make sure you get clear insight on exactly what they need to do. This is a big mistake that closers make in general, is just have too vague conversations, you know? You're on a sales call, someone gives you an objection, you're like, yeah, cool, you need to transfer money, no worries, we're booking a follow-up, and then they end up just like disappearing, you know? So obviously don't go crazy here and like just ask them to like do something that they can't do. But you need to make sure that you get the full context about exactly what they need to do to actually make the payment, so you can lay out a plan for how they're going to join the program, you know. So for example, someone might need to sell crypto to get into the program, or someone might need to like transfer money from like a savings account to like a what's it called, like a current account, you know. So you need to like just figure these things out, get a good idea of exactly like what's going on and exactly what they need to do. And usually when you do that, you will figure out ways that they can actually make it happen. For example, I've had guys on sales calls where they have all their money in crypto, you know, and then I get some more context, ask them some questions, and we figure out that they have a card that's connected to their crypto account, like a crypto.com like credit card that they can use to pay the program, instead of them having to sell the crypto and wait like 4 days to get started, you know. So you just need to get more context, dig into these things, ask them questions to like uncover what's actually going on, exactly what their situation is, and then a lot of times that will solve the objection. And if it doesn't solve the objection, then you will obviously just book a follow-up call. If they need to sell crypto and wait a couple of days, or if they need to transfer money, just book the follow-up call, lay out a clear structured plan for them to come in. Meditate on it. It's usually with more like spiritual people. It can be a bit difficult to handle sometimes. And the kind of like approach you need to take in these cases is usually more like a cooperative frame, you know? Because if someone is more like spiritual, if they're more like kind of like woo-woo, if that makes sense, or if they feel like they want to like pray on it and like and things like that, you can't just like meet that with like a buy now like attitude and like just don't pray on it, to do it, and just like go back to their goals and more like a logical frame. You need to just like understand like how they're feeling, because usually they're more kind of like emotionally like they're kind of externalizing the responsibility of making a decision because they feel uncomfortable about it. You know, they feel like kind of scared and uncomfortable about drawing a line in the sand and just like committing to a program and investing in it so much money. So they want to like meditate, pray on it to get some type of confirmation, you know, that they're doing the right thing. So just keep that in mind, as people are usually looking for is confirmation, validation, and is feeling more comfortable making this decision. And that's what you kind of need to help them through. Help them understand that there's not gonna magically come certainty. You know, they're not gonna like meditate, pray on it, and then all of a sudden feel more confident. The confidence comes from taking action. So it's something that I would really recommend you use like personal stories. And yes, basically sharing your own experiences and sharing clients' experiences, and is telling them like how they're gonna feel throughout this process, and getting them to realize that they're not supposed to feel comfortable. They're not supposed to feel confident before jumping. It's supposed to feel scary. Shifting the belief in their head from, okay, success is supposed to be a comfortable, secure journey, to realizing that, okay, for me to get to this dream weight or this dream income, that is going to be for me stepping into uncertainty and doing the things I'm scared to do. If we can shift that belief in their head through personal stories and just reframing their mindset, you will be able to close these people very like this. Honestly, for me and like the guys that I coach, this should not be an objection that you struggle with at all, because if you know how to reframe this properly and like know how to tell people personal stories, it's a very simple one to overcome. People just need to understand the right way of thinking and they'll buy it. Same thing here. If someone wants to wait, usually it's a smokescreen. Usually they're like scared to do it, and there's just like fear behind it. If you get certainty on the program, it's not gonna make sense. Like, why would someone wait 6 months to do something that they know is the right thing for them to do, and that's gonna, for example, grow their business right now? Like, that doesn't make sense to wait to do that, you know? So same thing here. This can be solved by getting more certainty. If they still want to wait, if they have something that's like coming up, usually you can just like reframe their way of thinking by, let's say someone is like, yeah, I'm in school right now, or I'm studying right now. I don't have time to start this until like 6 months out. I would usually challenge people strongly, because like if you just had a good call, like a good discovery, a good pitch, and things like that, where they tell you that like, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z, I'm serious, I'm committed. This is why, by the way, having a good discovery is so important. So you have accountability, you can actually hold them accountable later. But anyways, if they tell you all that stuff early on the call, it's not going to make sense for them to later be on the call like, yeah, I want to do this, but I'm going to wait 6 months. You know, so usually this is just like a result of a weak discovery on your calls and not getting like clear guidelines from them. But if you still get this, you basically like to challenge people. You know, you told me earlier on the call that you want to be a millionaire, or that you want to get into this shape by summer. You know, and now you tell me that you're going to prioritize school over that, or you prioritize your studies over that, or whatever it is. You know, like, what is actually the top priority? Is it like you achieving goals, or is it school? You know, basically it's like call people out, because a lot of people go around their lives just like lying to themselves. You know, they tell themselves these lies of like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm committed to losing weight, I'm entrepreneurial, I'm an action taker. They tell themselves these things. Their family, their friends kind of like feed into that version of themselves. But in reality, they're not. You know, in reality, they're just talking about these things but not actually doing it. So you need to be the guy on a sales call that's going to challenge people to actually step up and hold them accountable to doing what they say they want to do. This is the most high level, the most like the best closers in the world do this. This is how I was able to become the top closer on all the teams I've been on, was by just holding people accountable to high standards. You know, not letting people give any like BS excuses. And it's not coming from a place of like hard closing. It's coming from a place of wanting the best for people, you know? If you truly want someone to be the best version of themselves, you need to hold them to high standards. You can't accept people just like giving you BS excuses and just like telling you and telling themselves why they're not gonna make change and stay overweight or stay at like a low income or not have freedom for another 6 months. You know, you need to be the person in their life who's going to challenge them to step up and make change. And that's what sales is all about. So this is also, I told you guys before, that really like all of the stuff that I mentioned to you right now it's all going to be prevented by having a good discovery. If you can just have good beginnings of your call, like the discovery part, the pitch, this is going to prevent all these objections. On my sales calls, I barely get any objections. It's like a couple of calls out of 100 calls, I'll get objections, more like logistical about like money or sometimes fear. But most of these objections are completely prevented if you just have a good beginning of the call where you get you get clear on the problem, you get clear on their goal, you get them to really commit to taking action, you pre-handle objections in the right way. That's exactly what I do on my calls, and also what I coach inside of my one-on-one coaching, my inner circle. So if you want to learn from me how to really like handle objections at the highest level, how to get to a 40-50% closing rate, make over 10K a month as a high-ticket closer, if you're a beginner wanting to get into it, or if you're a closer right now or a seller looking to just make more commissions, I can probably help you if you're willing to work hard. Again, only if you're coachable and you're actually willing to like implement feedback. So if you're interested in that and you want help from me one-on-one, like I've helped hundreds of guys, you can click the link down below, book a call, apply to talk to me one-on-one. And I'll see if I can actually help you out and see if I can actually help you like get to these numbers as a high-ticket closer. And again, like only do that if you're actually coachable. If you're someone who has like massive ego and you think you're the best of the best, I'm not gonna be able to help you. If you're coachable and you're willing to work hard, I can definitely help you get better at closing and help you get to these 10K month commissions. So apply down below if you're interested. Hopefully this is valuable. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. I'm happy to give you more insights on objection handling and things like that over there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next video.